Welcome to Figure Feedback. My name is Jeremy, and this is a review of the Jamg Standard Plus resin in Nebula Gray. Now, they were kind enough to send me a couple of bottles of this resin so that I can try it out and do this review for you today. So after you watch this, if you want to pick up this resin for yourself, I'm going to have a link in the description. Right now, as I record this, you can get a 1 kilogram bottle of this for about $27. So before we get close on these figures and I tell you about my experience with this resin, I want to share with you one thing that I have not experienced before with any other resin brand that I've tried. And that's the fact that Jamg included this paper filter in the box with the fine mesh screen. And if you haven't seen these, this is what you use when you swap your resins and you pour one resin back into the bottle. And the mesh screen helps to prevent any cured bits from going back into the bottle. And then they also provided a pair of blue nitrile gloves. And they were like a large pair of nitrile gloves. So even if you're a bigger person, chances are you're going to be able to fit those gloves. No other resin brand that I've tried has ever included anything extra. So I do want to give props to Jamg for doing that. The miniatures that I have here are part of the Iron Skull Orcs line from Cast and Play. And then I also have this Wolverine and Sabretooth diorama from Wicked. And as we take a closer look at these, the bases, by the way, were not printed in resin. These are just filament bases. So we're just going to focus on the main figures themselves. But as we take a closer look at these, I really like this color, this sort of nebula gray color. And I'm just in general a fan of gray resin in general. I think that it helps details to stand out more as a sort of mid-ground between black and white. It just really helps to bring things together. But everything has this nice sort of matte finish to it. It is somewhat reflective in the right light, but it's really no big deal. And even with the 3-second exposure time for my layers, I still think that the details on these came out looking very, very nice indeed. Especially if we look on Sabretooth and all of that fur right there behind his neck. It's super textured, you know, it's so textured, it's sharp. It looks really, really good. Wolverine's claws came out nice and straight, just as they should be. And I have not had any big issues when it comes to printing with this resin. To me, the most important thing about a resin is how reliable it is when it comes to printing, and how difficult of a time did I have when it came to printing things. How many failures did I get? And with this Jamg resin, that has not been a problem at all. In fact, I've only had one small failure, and that was when I was printing one of Wolverine's hands with his claws, that I wouldn't even blame on the resin because it was pretty cold in my garage and I tried to start printing something at around 63 degrees Fahrenheit. So I would attribute that failure to the coldness of the garage more than anything else. But once I heated it up with a heater, the whole ambient temperature of the garage, and I printed more things, I haven't had any problems with printing at all in these miniatures and this base with Wolverine and Sabretooth. It just came out looking really, really good. Very sharp, defined details on all of these, from the texture on the gloves, the muscles on the back. And I love orcs, and these orcs came out looking really great too. All of their little spiky bits on their weapons came out really good. This guy right here in the middle, he has a horn on his back. Everything just looks really crisp. I like how these figures turned out. And this nebula gray color, I'm a fan of the nebula gray. To me, it almost looks like a slightly different shade of gray than what I'm used to. Maybe it's my mind playing tricks on me because they call it nebula, but I feel like there's a little slight hint of a blue somewhere in there that's just making things look a little bit different. I might be wrong, but that's what my mind says. But all in all, the way that they look fantastic. And you also have to talk about the smell of the resin, if it's unbearable or close to unbearable, or if it's just totally fine. I think it's totally fine. It has a smell just like all resins do, but it was really no big deal. So that's not an issue at all. When it came to removing the supports on these figures, again, even with my 3-second normal layer exposure time, Getting rid of the supports was not an issue at all. It's not the easiest time that I've had removing supports, but it was by no means difficult at all. So I had no real issues removing supports. I didn't have to heat up the figures in order to remove them, and everything sticks on the build plate nicely. Everything, all the supports were together and well formed when they were printed. So everything just worked out good from that perspective. And at the end of the day, you know, I really do think that this resin is good. I've seen other reviews from people who have tried this resin before and they've had glowing things to say about it. And now that I've tried it for myself, I can say definitively that they are absolutely right. This resin is really good. And even if you don't have a resin printer, or if you do have a resin printer and you also have an FDM based printer, you can also check out some of their filament. And they were kind enough to send me a roll of their fast rapid filament in blue. And one of the things that I printed out using that high-speed filament is this collapsible basket here. And I'm using this currently for storage for some of my other miniatures because I had to put them somewhere while I clear the table to do some more reviews. So I also didn't have any problems with this filament. I didn't have any clogs or anything like that. It just went down smoothly. I don't have a really fast printer. I'm still using an Ender 3 Pro, so the whole high-speed aspect, unfortunately, is kind of lost on me. But printing at a regular speed of about 60 millimeters per second, everything went down good. Everything was great with this resin. No problems, or with this filament, so no problems with that at all. So if you want to get some filament from them and their high speed filament, I tried it. I'm still printing with it and it's working out great so far. So that's my take on the Jamg Standard Plus resin. I think it's just really great. It's easy to work with and I do recommend it. And if you are interested in other types of resin like water washable resin, they have that. They also have different color resins if you want to do things a little bit differently. And if those resins are anything compared to this one, then you should have a really easy time printing with that too. That's all for now, you guys. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know if you use this resin before down in the comments, or if you have any other questions about it, and I'll do my best to answer them for you. So until next time, take care of yourselves, and I'll speak to you soon.